So now that your CIT 0001 is complete and signed, now all you need to do is build the full packet and get it out to the IRCC. This video covers everything that goes into the envelope, the order it goes in, and how to ship it. Before we get into the order, here's everything that needs to be in the envelope. Your completed CIT 0001. If your Canadian ancestor is a great-grandparent or beyond, the supplemental ancestor page is attached directly after Section 9. Next, the CIT 0014 document checklist. Fill this out completely and include it. Next, your payment receipt of 75 Canadian dollars per applicant. This is paid through the IRCC payment portal. There's a link in the description. Just print out the receipt and include it. This is how the IRCC knows that you've paid. You'll need 2 citizenship photos per applicant. You'll need color copies of 2 forms of government-issued ID per applicant. And then color copies of all genealogical documents. And then finally, a cover letter. This is not strictly required by the IRCC, but we do recommend it. It maps your chain of descent clearly and explains any gaps or discrepancies. Every document goes in as a color copy. Never send originals. If you send originals, do not expect to get them back. If a document is black and white, such as a census record, a black and white copy is fine. For documents that are naturally black and white but are technically color documents, such as older birth certificates, place a small colored sticky note alongside the document when you copy it. This demonstrates to IRCC that you submitted a color copy of a document that happens to be black and white. If a document says void if copied, you can copy it anyway. That notice is not directed at IRCC. You can copy it and include it. Do not get apostilles on any document. The IRCC does not ask for them and does not want them. Next is photos. Do not underestimate these photos. These are one of the most common reasons that applications are kicked back. Here are the exact specifications directly from IRCC. The photos need to be 50 millimeters wide by 70 millimeters tall. That's 2 inches wide by 2 3/4 inches tall. The face must measure between 31 and 36 millimeters from chin to the natural top of the head. This is not the same as passport photo. Passport photos are 50 by 50 millimeters. Citizenship photos are a different size entirely. Photos need to be clear, sharp, and in focus with uniform lighting and no shadows, glare, or flash reflections. The background needs to be plain white or light colored, natural skin tones only, no digital alterations of any kind, no adjustments to color, brightness, or contrast, no red eye removal, cropping, pasting, anything like that. The photo needs to show your current appearance taken within the last 6 months. On the back of each printed photo, you need to include your first and last name and the name and complete address of the photography studio and the date it was taken. This needs to be the studio's official stamp, not handwritten by you. It needs to be stamped by the studio. Just a reminder, a U.S. passport photo cannot be used as it does not meet these specifications. Best bet is to contact your nearest Canadian consulate or embassy before booking a studio. They generally have lists of local photographers familiar with these requirements. If you can't get to that list, print the official IRCC photo specifications page. Link is in the description. It's titled Photo Specifications for Your Photographer. You can bring it along to the studio and ask whether they can provide an official stamp on the back before you book. I think the best bet, and at least what I did, is find one of these approved photographers and then just confirm that they're able to do citizenship as well as passport. You also write your own name on the back in addition to the studio stamp. Best to use something like a Sharpie ultrafine tip. Don't press hard with a ballpoint pen as that can deform the photo surface. Remember, a rejected application due to photos means more reassembling and resubmitting, just adding more time to the entire process. For ID, include color copies of 2 government-issued documents per applicant. Your passport and driver's license are the most common combination. If you include your passport, make sure it is signed. A birth certificate does not count as ID for this purpose. You also need to include a copy of the official receipt from the IRCC showing that you have paid the $75 application fee. IRCC does not require a cover letter, but it is strongly recommended and probably worth the time to write. Here's what it does for you. A reviewer picking up your packet sees the cover letter first. It tells them who you are, which ancestor your citizenship derives from, and the complete chain of descent from G0 to U in a single table. That context can make everything else in the packet easier to assess. Without it, the reviewer has to reconstruct your chain from the raw documents. A good cover letter would have three parts. First, your contact information and the IRCC address at the top, followed by a RE line clearly identifying the applicant, date of birth, and place of birth. Second, a citizenship basis section. State plainly who your Canadian ancestor is, where and when they were born, and document the complete line of descent in a table showing each generation, their name, birthplace, and how they obtained Canadian citizenship. Every person in the chain gets a row, GO through to U. Third, a documents enclosed section. Number every document in your packet and list them in the exact order they appear. This is your packet index. If IRCC needs to find a specific document, they look at your list and go straight to it. Close with a brief statement that all the documents are color photocopies, no originals are enclosed, and offer to provide additional information if needed. Here's what a completed cover letter could look like for a G3 applicant. Packet order. IRCC does not specify a required order, but here's the order that works well and is easy for a reviewer to follow. 1. A cover letter. Next, index of genealogical documents. Payment receipt. Family tree diagram showing the chain from G0 to U. This is optional, but it could be helpful. 5 is the actual CIT 001 with supplemental ancestor pages attached directly after Section 9. 6, IMM 5476 representative form, if it applies. Next, CIT 0014 document checklist. Next, 2 citizenship photos in a small coin envelope or Ziploc bag clipped to the front. 9, color copies of 2 forms of ID. And then finally, color copies of all genealogical documents, starting with G0. For binding these together, we recommend using paper clips and binder clips, not staples. This application is going to be going into a digitization center where documents are scanned, and staples just slow that process down. You can paper clip individual multi-page documents and then binder clip the full packet together. If you're applying as a group, you can submit one envelope for multiple family members who share the same Canadian ancestor. Each person does need their own CIT 0001 and CIT 0014. Genealogical documents only need one copy shared across the group. One important warning: if one person's application has an error, IRCC could return the entire group's application. So if 5 people apply together and one person's photos are wrong, there's a chance that all 5 will come back. So think carefully about whether the convenience is worth that risk, especially if anyone in your group has a more complex case. Shipping. The IRCC address for private couriers such as FedEx, UPS, or DHL is as follows here in New Waterford, Nova Scotia. One note is that many FedEx locations are not able to process New Waterford as a destination. If that happens, they often will default to New Victoria instead. It routes to the same facility. For USPS or Canada Post, you can use that same address. On the customs declaration, declare the value as $1. And the recommended harmonization code is 4911.99.0000. These are legal documents, and you don't need to insure the package. For the most cost-effective shipping from the US, Pirate Ship offers significantly lower rates than walking right into a FedEx or UPS store. Community members have also used Easy Ship or Shippo. If you use UPS, recommend using Worldwide Sabre, Worldwide Expedited, or Worldwide Express. Standard UPS to Canada can trigger brokerage fees and customs delays. So to summarize what goes in: cover letter, document index, payment receipt, family tree, CIT 0001 with supplemental pages, CIT 0014 checklist, photos, ID copies, and genealogical documents. Color copies throughout, no originals, no apostilles, and no staples. Links to the CIT 0014, the IRCC payment page, citizenship photo specifications, and the IRCC shipping address are all in the description below. Once your packet's in the mail, 4 things to do. Step 1, get your delivery receipt from the courier the moment your tracking shows delivered. Save it and hang on to this. This is your proof that IRCC received your packet and the date reference for everything that comes next. Next, you want to be on the lookout for your AOR, which means Acknowledgement of Receipt from the IRCC. This is an email confirming that they have your application. According to IRCC, this may take a while. Community tracking on Reddit is putting it at roughly 5 to 6 weeks from your delivery date, so don't be alarmed if it doesn't arrive quickly. Do check your spam folder. The AOR comes from this email address here with the subject line, Application for Proof of Citizenship Received. It looks like a system-generated email, so it is easy to miss. Don't try to contact IRCC before you get your AOR. There's really nothing for them to follow up on, and it's uncertain whether they could actually locate your file until it's been logged in their system. AOR is your signal that the clock has officially started.